Hi, I'm Katrin Redfern, and this is StageWorks. Today we're going to be examining Chimerica, a remarkably ambitious new play by Lucy Kirkwood that explores the fast-changing and complex relationship between the United States and China, and which recently transitioned from the Almeida Theater to the West End. Lucy Kirkwood's lightning-paced personal and political drama, which took 6 years to write, traces the twisting relationship between the East and West, starting in 1989, the year the Berlin Wall came down, but also the year crowds of unarmed protesters taking part in pro-democracy demonstrations in Tiananmen Square were gunned down by the military. The photograph of a lone Chinese man refusing to budge from the path of a tank became an iconic image, a David and Goliath symbol. But who was he, and what happened to him? Kirkwood's epic play takes the form of a quest as a fictitious American photojournalist, Joe Schofield, embarks on a quest to find him. What follows has the grip of a thriller, but also throws up a host of provocative issues: the true nature of heroism, financial dependency and its effect on press freedom, the changing role and ethics of photojournalism, the inescapable ambiguity of images, and with idealism, ethics, and compromise. The word Chimerica was originally coined by historian Neil Ferguson to describe the codependent relationship between trigger-happy America and control-freak China, or is that control-freak America and trigger-happy China? Anyway, here Chimerica is a fragile web of shifting human relationships, which are severed by corporate greed, state cruelty, and selfish individualism, but still manage to achieve moments of connection. The show's serious, witty, multi-layered meditation on the cultural contrasts and similarities brought out by the superpower's codependency occasionally puts you in mind of the work of Robert Lepage, but there's more narrative drive here in the quest structure Kirkwood gives to her material. The pull-no-punches dialogue highlights the sharp differences as well as the similarities between the twin superpowers. In America, Joe's bolshy individualism as a photographer who records world events is ultimately celebrated, even when he wrecks lives to get the story. In China, Zhang Lin, who has already suffered for his involvement in the Tiananmen protests, pays a heavy price for questioning party information. The action zings between the two countries at a fast pace over 3 hours and creates a vivid picture of booming China, described as a country that has gone from famine to slim fast in 1 generation. Kirkwood goes even further in examining the nature of capitalism in both countries. China may be open to Western investment and apparently enthralled by its products. At the same time, the character of Tessa, a market researcher working in China, points out in a brilliant speech to her clients that the only way into its markets is to understand that China is a country that values the supremacy of its own culture. Director Lindsay Turner's astonishingly filmic production keeps the action driving forward through 39 scenes, and the splendid company brings an impressive array of performances. Stephen Moore compellingly conveys the charismatic recklessness and blinkered self-absorption of the photographer. Benedict Wong elegantly contrasts Zhang Lin's private grief and public defiance. And there is exemplary work from Claudie Blakely as a sharp-tongued Tessa, and Sean Gilder as a battered reporter. And of special note, the kaleidoscopic nature of Kirkwood's play is perfectly expressed in Ez Devlin's groundbreaking design of a rotating cube that manages to contain almost 40 set changes. This technical brilliance is carried right through the lighting of Tim Lutkin, the sound design of Carolyn Downing, and the video design of Finn Ross. Ross's excellent projections of black and white contact sheets are projected over the set, bearing the crossed out or reframed marks of the editor's red pen, a subtle reminder that a photograph is an opinion, not a simple record of truth. Now, on the minus side, transferring from the smaller Almeida Theater, the production suffers from a lack of intimacy. West End theaters were built like megaphones for heroic tour de force performances and extroverted productions, not this subtle, voyeuristic play without heroes, which you have to peer into to appreciate. Scene by scene, it's got the originality, intelligence, richness, and humor that we've come to expect from the best HBO dramas. But it doesn't always have their entertainment factor. I did have a glass of wine during intermission, but the second act sometimes lacked the thrills that you need to keep you on the edge of your seat for over 3 hours. I would also say that sometimes a play has a hard time deciding what's important, which is a lot like our time, actually. And generally, the characters aren't very well developed and have a one-dimensional feel. You can't always tell what's exactly motivating them. The Telegraph notes that the dialogue had a witty panache, but I found it overdone and abrasive at times. I noticed this in Kirkwood's last play, NSFW. Maybe when we get a bigger budget, we can bring her on the show and discuss her dialogue style in more detail. All in all, this epic play brilliantly confronts huge global issues through vivid personal stories, which, after all, is what theater does best. It has the extravagant scale and swagger of Lucy Preble's Enron. However, there are a few themes too many, and some elbow their way in awkwardly. Even so, this is a thoughtful, wonderfully ambitious drama that, in a world saturated with imagery, considers the truths behind one picture and sends you out into the night with much more to think about than you had before. So, catch Chimerica at the Harold Pinter Theater while you can. And it would be great to hear from you. Let's have a conversation. Email is stageworksforyou@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, or follow us at StageWorks on Twitter. See you next time.